Hey, what's going on, everyone? Wanted to make a video here. This isn't going to be for everyone, but it's just kind of over the last couple weeks, the things I've experienced, the realizations I've come to in the knife community, etc. I just kind of wanted to cover that, as well as I'm gonna title this video kind of making amends. I have gotten some information or have new outlooks on the knives that I've reviewed before, or the stances I've taken on them. Some are good, some are great, some are bad, some are sad, but we'll kind of get to that. The first one's going to be the half ace blades cab folder. As I said in the video of like my 3-inch and under shootout, I did have a very good source that let me know that most of the pieces of this were actually made in Asia, which I don't have an issue with. Again, Lord knows I have a Berg Iron Wolf right here by WV Knives that is one of my favorite flippers ever made. But like it's still the fact that the country of origin or the details of it, not having it listed on the drop, that kind of bothered me a little bit. But I did end up calling them and then sent an email, and I'll post right here the response that I got. So it just very kind of weird. It was just like, yeah, sir, like it's made in the United States kind of thing. Like, not super convincing, but that's the deal with the half ace blades cab folder. So if you did watch that video and you were like, F this thing, it's not made in the US, like they say that it is made in the US. I think maybe it's assembled in the US still, but I just thought that was a pretty funny answer to get. The next thing that I wanted to cover actually was the McNees 3.5 in MagnaCut, which I've had this for about 2 weeks now, and I can't say enough good things about this knife. I've started carrying it so much more. Like, I love this thing, everything it has to offer, the action. I will post a picture right here. Ended up taking it down just to clean it, because I know in my original kind of initial impressions video I posted, I wasn't really confident, and I stick by that. At the time, I wasn't confident about thumb flicking this thing, but I took this thing apart. I used alcohol, cleaned it. It has caged bearings, which, guys, you buy anything on bearings, get them caged. I don't know. I just reviewed that Shiro F3, and I still don't know if those are caged bearings or not, but there's no reason. The action of having caged bearings is a game changer. It really is. And ever since I cleaned this thing and I used blue Loctite, but that being said, you have these, one pivot screw, you got two back here. Once you get this thing down and then put alcohol, clean everything out with Q-tips, use a little the red grease that I use for my knives, this thing is stupid. I have every day, and I keep a nightstand. I'll actually post a picture right here. I'm giving myself work to do later when I edit this video. Every morning when I wake up to go to the gym at 5, I'm always what knife do I want to test out? Usually it's pretty clear, but this thing I've been picking up more and more. I absolutely love this thing. I will sit there and flick this thing all day. I love it. I love being able to flick it with my thumb super easily now that I cleaned it, tuned it with blue Loctite, so I got that torque just right. Flicking it with my finger. This has become a favorite of mine, and I will buy multiple of these, and we'll kind of get to that in a little bit, kind of where I'm at with my collection or what's cool to me. But this McNees, I literally can't say enough good things about it. And once I was able to get it tuned, showstopper. The other kind of making amends, or things that I said in my other video that are not true. So if you look at this, I had said before, that it almost looked like it was a sandwich construction because of those barrel spacers in the back. It's not. There's a line on these barrel spacers, but they come off, right? So they are their own entity. It's one piece on one side, one piece on the other. There's no sort of sandwich construction with this thing or the 3-inch, which I actually just ended up selling my Tad 3-inch. I think I'm a 3.5-inch guy, but again, any McNees 3.5-inch that you can get your hands on, pick this thing up because it's a game changer. Like, it is. I'm gonna be sending this to my buddy Devin to review, but I'm like, man, I'm sending him that one, and then another other knife that I'm, very passionate about, the Shiro F3. Like, these have a permanent place in my collection, and I wouldn't have known that if I wouldn't have tried the others. So I feel like that's pretty cool. All right, the next point that I wanted to bring up, and this has been kind of a common theme for me throughout the last couple months since I've been into knives, like reviewing knives, are knife boxes. Like, what is in a knife box? I'm going to post right here because I had a slim midi that it literally came with a small Pelican case, and I kind of wonder, like, what do people do with these things? And I know, like, when you get onto the secondary market, like, people are like, oh, does it have a box? Like, I mean, I make jokes all the time about people that make posts that are strictly like, oh, this is going to be a fixed blade post for knives without boxes, whatever. Like, I could care less about boxes, I'm going to be honest with you, but it's kind of interesting to me to see, like, the care and attention to detail that some people or some companies put into boxes, then other ones, like, they could care less. And so, I mean, for instance, like, this is a half-face blades, actually still in here. You got an SHPOS Gen 3 folder. I mean, there's literally, like, magnets on the side of this thing. Like, it's really cool. There's, like, this, they're scalper Indian. I don't know if you can see that there. Now you can see it. I mean, it's a really cool box, right? But, like, contrast that to a Shirogorov, which, like, this is from the Quantum Ursus, but similarly to my F3. These are just, like, really cheap cardboard boxes. There's nothing to these. I mean, there's a knife cloth in them or whatever, but, like, it kind of makes me ask the question where it's like, an F3 NS, which this one, you buy right now, it's going to be over $900. I'm not even going to get into the real price of it, etc. Or you buy a Civivi for $50 on Amazon, and it comes with an outer box, and then you open up that box, and you have this, like, zipper pouch. You open up this zipper pouch, there's, like, stickers, there's, like, this cleaning cloth, there's all this stuff or whatever, and I'm like, could you have made it $36 if you didn't include this? Like, I don't know. I don't know who this stuff appeals to. Like, I mean, certainly, like, I feel like a vast majority of us people that collect knives and like knives, I mean, we keep these boxes because we're like, oh, should we want to get rid of them or sell them? Like, that means a lot. Like, getting a box to actually send something in, like original box packaging, etc., that means something to some people, but I'm just like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. I mean, going back to the Chavez where you get a Pelican case, like, do I need that for a knife? Like, probably not, but I also don't want to lose a ton of money if I'm trying to sell it because I don't have the Pelican case that, accompanied that knife. So that, I don't know, it's an interesting thing. And so, I don't know, like, I mean, the Civivi, this is probably the cheapest knife I own at $50. It comes with the best packaging ever, and that's weird to me. And so if you're into that, that's cool. I would just be really interested to know, like, what are people doing with this packaging? Like, are you keeping the knife in it? Whatever. Like, I really don't know, but I would love to get your thoughts on that. All right, the next piece that I wanted to cover with this kind of making amends type thing is just kind of like the status of the buy-seller trade economy, which, like, what I've seen over the last 2 weeks, again, you can blame it on high gas prices, the economy kind of being in the toilet kind of thing, but you really have to be very careful these days about what you buy. And based on my experience, I'm a part of, like, a lot of groups. The Chris Reeves, that the groups I belong to that sell Chris Reeves, they're the only ones that are doing business. Like, I'd say the only exception to that is going to be the McNees, right? So the 3.5 in MagnaCut just recently came out, so that's still, like, a hot commodity. But everything else, like your one-offs, your customs, your 1 of 100, like, I see people, like, kind of, like, eating it in a way. Whereas like if things were normal, it would just be like, hey man, just sit on this for a little bit, like see where things go with it. But the economy is like actually really bad right now, and I think like I had to come to the realization, and I have been selling a lot of knives that I've already reviewed and ones that I'm just like, I'm probably never going to carry them before. But like my biggest fear right now is to have $100 knives, and I'll post this picture right here of a recent post on Everyday Blades where it was like this guy, I mean like a collection, certainly there's some like bangers in there, like they're awesome, but by and large, like if you look at the money or the whatever, the effort it would take to move all of those, like you're going to be in a bad place. And that is my biggest fear. And so because of that, I kind of looked at, all right, well, like what are the knives like in my stable? What do I want to keep? What are knives that I could not part with? And I've been kind of like, I've been calling the herd a little bit with that for sure. Like it had a big like impact on me. I was like, I don't want to get stuck with all these knives that I'm not carrying. And like I think the more and more reviews that I do, like I can narrow it down further and further. And with that, I mean like I actually like brought out quite a few that I'm like a huge fan of for different reasons. And the first being like McNees Mach 3.5. I don't think I'll ever get rid of this. I'm going to send it to my buddy Devin to review, but this knife, and I've had more than, a normal person should ever have. I'm a huge fan of this knife, and I think that this is one that I could keep. This Curtis F3, I got a great deal on it. I wouldn't feel good about selling it, and I actually really like it. It's in MagnaCut. It's a non-flipper version. This is another one that I'm going to be keeping. I was actually able to trade one of my Sharp by Design mini Tempest for this Nimble, which this is like a first production run. I reviewed one of these that was very similar that again Devin let me borrow, but love this thing. Like I don't think like, I don't know, I mean fidget value alone, like I love the idea of like the multiple ways to open it, so I'm gonna hold on to that. I just reviewed the Shiro F3, which this one is staying with me for sure. My Strider SMF, that's another staple. I'm never gonna get rid of that one either. My Berg Iron Wolf, which I was actually really surprised. Devin, when he kind of like rated all of his other flippers, he said this was his favorite flipper, and I do agree. Like, I mean, that's why I was excited to send this to him, because like I was so impressed with this from WE Knives. But gonna be holding on to that one. But other than that, I mean, I have a few like obscure obsessions. Like, I mean, you all know I'm really into Lone Wolf knives, so I have this like Harsey, and then I have the Eagle Talon, and then I also have a Laredo, which I'm going to be reviewing. But I mean, this is like a personal issue of mine. Like, I don't lump it into the grand scheme of things. But yeah, by and large, like I feel like I'm really trying to get down to the knives that I actually like and carry, and I think that's important to note. So like based on like your price point, and please feel free to reach out to me directly, like if you have a price point in mind. I was actually just helping one of the guys that I work with. He was like, hey, this is like my budget, what would you suggest, kind of thing. Like, all right, well, like, what's your form and function? Like, what do you want it to do? All right, this is the best one based on my time, experience, money I've spent on knives. But other than that, I'm really trying to let a vast majority of my knives go, just because I know I'll never carry them. Like, maybe I'll gift them. Like, I have an extra Spyderco Shaman. I'll probably just give it to my dad, because he'll love that thing. Other than that, like, yeah, I'm really trying to kind of cull down and get to the base of my collection and the things that I actually carry on a daily basis. All right, the next kind of like feeling that I've had recently, and so not only knives, but I also deal in watches, etc. But one of my biggest pet peeves that I've seen kind of, it's been more like amplified over the last couple of months, are these people that you get where it's like, I realize that like knives, I mean, this is not the end all be all, right? Like if there's more important things in your life, whether it's, putting food on the table, having a roof over your head, like take care of that stuff first for sure. But one of my biggest pet peeves are people that I actually spend the time and effort, whether it's like, I'm certainly like, I try to be really good with, if someone's interested in a knife, like I'm happy to provide them vouches, provide them a video of the action, whatever, and then get it out next day so that it's sent to them, kind of thing. One of my biggest pet peeves are people like putting out troller posts where they're like, hey, like, I'm looking for, a nimble, something like that. Like, they're looking for a specific knife or watch, but they don't have the money to do it. And then they're reliant on some money coming through in the 11th hour or whatever. Like, I've been burned twice now with that, when like, it's not so much whatever. Like, I get, life happens, things come up, people won't be able to pay, but like, it's really annoying to me because like, time is money. Like, I have a 6-month-old that like takes all of my time. I'm working during the day. Like, I don't have time to send you pictures or videos of a knife to have you in the 11th hour after we've worked out a deal to be like, hey, that money never came, and like, I kind of need that money to be able to spend. Like, don't even get in the game. Don't post an in search of post. Don't do any of that stuff. Like, just wait. Like, I mean, you shouldn't be at a point where like, having a knife or a watch is like the, long pole in the tent, whether or not you put food on the table. So that's kind of one of my pet peeves, and I've seen that a lot actually lately, and I've tried to educate people about that. Like, hey, like, this is all superfluous. This is not like your core life things that you're gonna remember, when you're old, etc. Like, take care of the people and things that matter first. And hopefully that goes without saying. It doesn't. Yeah, I really apologize for backtracking, but there's one more thing I have to say about half-face blades, just based on my recent experience, and that's kind of what I wanted to give you guys was, my recent experience with groups writ large, collecting knives, etc. I left that one half-face blades enthusiast group on Facebook, and I'm still a part of like the buy-sell trade. I do like to keep kind of like my thumb on the pulse of like how other knives are selling, etc., just from a totality standpoint, just because I'm very interested in it. But like, man, I had people from that enthusiast page that, in looking at like their join date, what they said, whatever, like, it was almost like comical in the fact that like they're literally just like coming after me. Like, if I comment on anything like, hey, like, that's a sick blade, like, good luck with the sale, they will comment on what I say based on my cav folder review, as well as my, why I've distanced myself kind of thing. Like, they will like attack me. I feel like they like try to find out information about me and just like try to, it's actually like pretty bizarre. Like, I'm literally living rent free in about 10 of their minds that came over from this other group, and they're like, oh man, we got to get this guy. I'm like, dude, good on you, man. Like, if you have that kind of time in your life, like, that's sick. Like, I've moved on. I gave an honest review of a couple of blades, my impression of a certain brand. I'm living rent free, and it's kind of funny to me. So I don't know. That's the other thing about half-face blades. I don't have too many more. Like, I have 2 all told, so I'm running the SHPOS Gen 3 folder, as well as a Disaster Junior that I have. I don't really know what the outcome of that is going to be. Like, I'll probably hold on to them, but I definitely, like, I'm not carrying them that much or anything of that nature. But I don't know, I thought it was funny. Like, I was like, man, like, these people are like going out of their way, taking time out of their day to try to like hate on me or like get me to feel a certain way, and I'm just like, dude, like, you guys are thinking about me a lot. It's creepy, but I appreciate it. Y'all are cute. All right, and the last thing that I wanted to cover with this video is kind of the state of my collection and where I'm going. I hit on it a little bit, but I have been trying to pare down to the knives that I really enjoy carrying, and to be honest with you, like, the knife that I've most enjoyed carrying over the last couple weeks, or just after, kind of being not bombarded, but trying out a different knives, is like this McNees. Like, I love the 3.5 in MagnaCut. Like, the hand feels so much different. I actually ended up selling that 3-inch, and then I just sold my pad, kind of that Safe Queen one that I had. So love these knives. If you can get your hands on a 3.5, like if you have the money to do it, again, these are running about $650 right now, which I realize is really steep, but it's great. Like, I mean, the knife is absolutely stupid. I also still have all my Striders. I kind of keep my ear to the ground with people selling Striders, but again, the price is absolutely so crazy that I look at it and I'm like, what would another SNG or SMF do for me? Like, probably not much, but I hold these things, absolutely love it. Holding on to the Berg Iron Wolf, like, for me, I carried this the other day at work, like, love this knife. Like, I think any review you see of this thing, like, it's tip top, especially for the money. It's absolutely stupid. Just reviewed the Shiro F3, which couldn't say enough good things about this knife. Like, this is definitely a permanent part of my collection. And then I also, like, I had 2 of those Sharp by Design Mini Tempest, so I traded one for this one. So that this Nimble, first edition, I was gonna actually look to get a sheep's foot version of this on the 30th because they're gonna drop some more. But I love this. Like, I think it's really cool. Like, I love being able to open a knife from different ways. Like, I think that's really cool. So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the status of my collection. I don't really know what's left. Like, I love lone wolf knives as well. Like, if I see those pop up, like, I'll definitely scoop them up. I have a couple I actually need to review, like, notwithstanding this lone wolf Harse. I want to get the bigger version of this. I also have a lone wolf Laredo that I need to review, but I don't know. I think I'm kind of going to be like, all right, these are the knives that I actually, like, carry on a daily basis, and then these are the actual, like, collection knives, which for me are, like, lone wolves. Like, I can't explain it. Love them. Wish they still existed, but it's kind of cool with lone wolf. Like, not too many people are into them, and they don't make them anymore, so there's a finite number of them. But people, you're usually able to get them for a pretty decent price, so I definitely like that. And the build quality, I also, if we're making amends, so a lot of the people, and I'll cover this when I review this one, but why I made the comparison to the that, like, frame lock auto that I have, the Eagle Talon. It was actually people that left Gerber that started Lone Wolf, and that was the comparison that I made. It was that Gerber Gator. I was like, yeah, this is like, it reminds me of it so much. Like, that was the comparison there. And the more research I did, I found out that, in fact, those people did leave Gerber and started Lone Wolf. Then it was made by Benchmade, and they shut it down. But yeah, no, I appreciate you all tuning in. Just kind of wanted to give I don't really know what this video was. I'll be honest with you, but I just kind of wanted, like, I feel like things are changing on my end with things, like, obviously with the economy just being crap. Like, I mean, you literally can't move, like, a Spyderco right now. I don't know. It's kind of frustrating, but at the end of the day, like, I think I've been able to, like, pare down my collection, and I think what's next for me after I get, like, there's a few other knives on my hit list that I want to get and test out and be able to post about. But other than that, I really just want to do comparisons of, like, hey, like, if you're looking for this, look at this knife, kind of thing. Like, I've definitely been able to, narrow down my search for things. And I think that's really cool. So appreciate you all tuning in and bearing with me. Sorry this video is kind of off the cuff, but just wanted to touch base, and we will see you for our next knife review coming up. Thanks.